ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Da, 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 da! You sound insane. You realize that? Yeah. The whole world gone crazy! Are you serious? Ladies and germs! Yeah. It's showtime.
How guys, ma'am, fam. I'm gonna do this whole thing in a bad British accent. Sound good to you, Brian?
Good day, governor.
Perfect.
Just totally screw it up.
Like the game.
We will lose so many subscribers.
This weird one here, you know. I'm always creeped out by that one.
Yeah.
See that one in movies. I don't know anything about the geographical locale. Maybe you UK man fam can help us out. But that one, that's thought, you know, that one scares me quite a bit. Well, we are here. Is this our? No, we've done. Did we do Man from U.N.C.L.E.? Yeah, we did. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
So this is our second Guy Ritchie performance. He's
Aladdin,
Canadian.
Aladdin last year.
Oh shoot,
and,
that was Guy.
King Arthur too.
Man, those don't seem. Forgot about both of those movies already. Good job.
You're lucky.
So our fourth, but our first kind of proper.
Yes, agree.
Guy Ritchie film, and his first, since unless you count the Sherlock Holmes films, but probably his first in his wheelhouse since Rock and Rolla, the masterpiece that was Rock and Rolla.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to talk The Gentleman. Kent is not here. He is, in fact, not a gentleman. We had a contest. We had to make cocktails, and there was a dapper dressing costume. There was obviously an umbrella check, and he failed. His umbrella was immaculate, but all the others he could not. He could not pass muster.
Yeah, he also has a blood feud with Guy Ritchie post Swept Away. You know, and he talks about it all the time. So I don't want to get into it. I don't want to speak for him, but yeah, he didn't want to be here today, so we understand. It's fine. It's fine.
No, I totally understand. And he Kent has his own personal feelings around Madonna, and those factor in too.
Right.
He has several copies of her erotica book, coffee table book from the early 90s, that he keeps in various safety deposit boxes across the country. So that's neither here nor there. The Gentleman is what we're here to talk about today. And it's a good cast, but it's not like you get to watch all these guys hang out a whole lot. They're kind of segmented.
Yeah.
Together, which hurts.
Season 4.
Yes,
kind of thing. Yeah.
Definitely great comp. It's that, which is a little disappointing when you go see it, because I would like to see some of these people interact. But I like pretty much everyone involved in this. Right? We're fans of. Is there anyone? I'm trying to think. You and I are Colin Farrell stans,
big time.
You know how I feel about. I'm just going to start the movement, Sir Hugh Grant.
Yeah,
and McConaughey's awesome, and a fellow Texan like us, and you were a big Suns guy, right?
I was, yeah.
Charlie's cool, and and Henry Golding's obviously awesome. So this is quite the cast of cool. They're not all Brits, but cool dudes nonetheless. And this movie is interesting. It's certainly it's the, not to go full Warren Michaels, but it's that thing when. Ironically, because Guy Ritchie made Rock and Rolla, but in the late 70s when John Lennon made Rock and Roll, the album, and it was like return to the roots. I'm just going to do Little Richard songs and stuff. Sure, I've done a bunch of pop stuff. I've done, and it's kind of that move for Guy Ritchie, which I think a lot of musicians do, and it's a cool. Nothing against it, but it seems like okay, I've tried all this other stuff. Why don't I go back to kind of what made me? Sure. And make a modern version of Snatch or Lock, Stock or whatever from there. And on that level, I had a lot of fun with this because I am those were big movies. They haven't stuck with me. I don't watch them often, but those movies were big in the high school Richard rotation, and thus they have nostalgia to me. So I'm kind of blinded by. I kind of spent this whole time going, oh yeah, this is. I always wanted to see one of these in the big boy theater because I was those were all DVDs when I was, by the time I came around. So anyway, interested in your sense watching this and what you think of. We've kind of talked about what we think about Guy Ritchie before, but you can refresh us because I'm sure you have some original thoughts on what you think of the cast and the movie in general.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Guy Ritchie fan, but what I do appreciate about him is that he has a style, and it's very clear. You see a Guy Ritchie movie, and with the exception of Aladdin, which is still so mind-boggling to me that I guess King Arthur is this way too. But one of my big criticisms of Aladdin was like, why do you hire Guy Ritchie to do this if it's not going to be kind of Guy Ritchie stylized? Like, I don't understand. Go get Kenny Ortega if you're just going to do High School Musical as Aladdin, I still don't really understand that. But typically you go into a Guy Ritchie movie and you're like, oh yeah, this is Guy Ritchie within about 3 minutes, even if you didn't know that, because he's very clear and unique and has his style. And I appreciate that even when I don't love the movie that he's making. Cause I don't know, we have so many things in pop culture that are, just homogenous and they're all kind of the same and cookie cutter. And that's fine. Like, because cookie cutter is what hits the mass audience. I understand how these things work, but it is fun when you see, it's like being in a really nice neighborhood here where we're different than California. Like, $300,000, $400,000 for sure gets you a really nice house, in a nice neighborhood here. And, but they all look the exact same and they're very close to each other and all this. And then you like kind of turn the corner and there's another one there that's like, oh, like, maybe this was an original house or somebody did, and that's the Guy Ritchie thing. He just has this a slightly different effect. I'm with you on that. Those movie Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, and to a lesser extent, Rock and Roller, because that was a little bit later. Yeah. Those have some nostalgia value for me, mostly based on like the dorm room experience and just this
Revolver too.
Yeah, totally. Revolver. And this is just a thing that we all watch together, and I enjoyed those much more so than, Scarface, or even to some degree even Fight Club. Fight Club I've come to appreciate, but I didn't really love it in the moment. It kind of was a little bit just like, okay,
it's a lot heavier.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, the humor of Fight Club is so much more biting and satirical, but not as like crowd pleasing as the humor in those two, certainly in Snatch. Absolutely.
But you hit the nail on the head. Like I have nostalgia for those movies, but they have not stuck with me at all. Like I barely remember any. Maybe the thing I remember most is Brad Pitt's weird accent in Snatch. Like that's kind of, which probably isn't the, if I told Guy Ritchie that, he's probably like, well, that sucks. That's tough. That's the only thing you really remember, but it is the case. Anyway, I was excited to see him.
Statham in Lock, Stock was kind of that too. It's like, oh, this guy's something.
Totally. But I was excited to see him get back to what he does. I thought that this trailer was great. I was really kind of excited about it. If this came out in like April, I would have been really excited. We're kind of preconditioned to expect that January movies suck. And so there's a little bit of that, but I love this cast. I think it's a really strong set of characters that he's got here. It's not it feels like this movie, if this was the movie that he would have made in the late 90s, early 2000s, this is like a great Guy Ritchie movie, if not a great movie in and of itself, because it has a cool story and some really interesting concepts, and then you just have this great cast to work with. But it does feel, there are parts that kind of felt like, oh, he kind of lost it a little bit here. Like we're not quite stringing things together the way, it doesn't have the same energy throughout that I kind of expected from him. And maybe that's like him trying to be a mature new filmmaker, or maybe that's just, he lost it. I don't know. But I kind of missed a little bit of the expectation on the energy standpoint, and that I think would have made things good. But Hunnam is not a particularly good actor. He's certainly not a great actor. He's probably not a very good actor, but he can be used, when he's used correctly, he can be, he has a strong presence on screen. He fits really well in this world. Like he feels like he was born to be in Guy Ritchie movies and stuff.
Yeah, that kind of bare knuckle boxer British type.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So I thought he did really well. I love, obviously I'm with you. I love Hugh Grant. I love Colin Farrell. I wish Colin Farrell would have been in the movie more, which I say in probably every Colin Farrell movie. I think he's so so great. But yeah, overall it was a decent, solid film for this early in the year, especially.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's going to stick with me come the end of the year, but that's okay. It kind of served its purpose, and I had a good time watching it for probably 80% of it at least, which is good. That's fine.
Yeah, this is an interesting bellwether for beginning of the year, because like if this is a mediocre movie this year, it's a really good year of movies. And if this is a good movie this year, it's not a great year of movies. If at the end of the year we go, sure, Gentleman's like my number 16, then this year sucked. But if this is your 32, then this, wow, it was real twangy there. 32. If this is 32, then yeah, wow. If there's 31 better movies in this year, awesome. We're in for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll go bit by bit. This is weird. Even though he's not bad in this, and he's not, it's not like a phone in at all. And he is a fish out of water. That's the point of the character. I kind of, for some reason, vibe wise, McConaughey seemed a little off in this movie for me.
I'm glad you said that. I'm with you in the early going, especially like when he's trying to do the gangster who is trying to get out of the game thing. It felt like I know what he's doing. I'm not dumb. I can tell that he's trying to play it more reserved and all that kind of stuff. But it did feel his energy was weird compared to everybody else's, and I couldn't. There was a moment because we've ridden the waves of the reconnaissance, and I'm always worried that we're on the tail end of that, and we're going to come back crashing down to earth, and then he pops out a good movie. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's good, it's fine, it's okay if he makes a bad movie every once in a while, but I'm nervous. In the early going especially, I was like, oh, I don't know, this could be it would really stink if this movie is not particularly good because of him, rather than it's just a bad movie. You know what I mean? And that was the early going for me. I was a little nervous.
Yeah, and again, it's not one of those where you go, okay, McConaughey's just cashing a paycheck here. He's trying something, and so the direction's kind of at fault too. He's trying something. It just seemed out of sorts with the rest of things that were going on, but maybe that was overly purposeful on Ritchie's part because he is, this expat that maybe moves at slightly different speed, or maybe Ritchie just doesn't know how to write dialogue for an American too. It's the other thing.
Sure.
Which all McConaughey can do is what he can do, right?
Right. Kind of would like to see him try the accent, just for us.
I don't know if you've seen any press for this, but he kind of is doing like a weird, because he's just with Hugh Grant everywhere, and he does this, and he just kind of does this. I know those dinners, dude. But he kind of does this weird where he does McConaughey voice, but with English slang, like he's trying to like pick it up. It's real uncomfortable, and Hugh Grant has precisely zero time for it.
Sure.
It's wonderful.
The question we get a lot on AMAs is like, who do you want to go to dinner with? Who's your table of four at a dinner party or whatever? And it's like, well, now it's Hugh Grant and Matthew McConaughey. That's my answer moving forward. That sounds awesome. And just sit there and like kind of look at them back and forth, like, oh, do they hate each other? Is this like what's? I don't know, but it's kind of great.
Yeah. It's funny because they did something in McConaughey's act. He's one of the funniest guys. I mean, I didn't really meet him on the set. That's the other great thing. They have no scenes together. So they met on the press tour, kind of officially. So that's awesome because it's like, hey, go out and do Fallon together. So it's great because he's one of the funniest gentlemen I've ever met right here, Hugh Grant. And he was like, thank you. Like, no compliment back whatsoever. Anyway, so McConaughey, that Farrell's, you're right, underused. You can kind of tell, like when you see this cast, you go, they can't also have Farrell for 60 minutes in this movie. That would be hard to, even for Guy Ritchie, but especially at this point for Guy Ritchie. But man, does he make the most out of it?
Oh my gosh, he's so good.
I know, good. And he's so manic and fun, and the Farrell Assance is like, the McConaissance was kind of like Iverson's career. It was quick and it was wonderful. But the Farrell Assance is a little more like a longer, like a Dirk career. Like he's just putting out 55 win seasons every year. Kind of it's awesome. He's just, I think, one of the best actors going, and it's fun to watch him. He's so fun to watch brood, but it's fun to kind of watch him be fun and scary and all the things he is in this. Yeah, I would sign up for. He's the one person I would want to see in a Guy Ritchie movie, like as the lead forever.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I go back and forth on that all the time because I feel like every movie we see him, I'm like, gosh, he really wasn't used all that or wasn't used enough. But then there's a part of me that
we even wanted more, I guess.
Yeah, totally, and I think he has. I hope that he has some more real starring roles in him before he gets to this point. But there's gonna come. I may have said this before. I apologize if I have, but there's gonna come a day when it's like Colin Farrell character actor, and that's his thing. That's really the only thing he does, and it's going to be awesome because he's so. You can drop him into just about anything and just watch him do interesting things on screen. But you're right. Like when he's having fun and just, I imagine that he was on set for 2 weeks, for this and just popped in and out and just had a blast doing it. Gosh, he's got so much presence. It's so great to watch him on screen.
I don't know if you've seen him the last couple weeks. He did some press for this and he's fat.
Oh, wow.
He's gained some weight for Penguin.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
which
about
I'm
that.
sure they'll add to prosthetically, but you kind of have to get just soft, I think, is the thing. And I was like, man, I hope he can't keep the weight off because he's so handsome.
Yeah.
But you're right. Character actor Colin is where we want. Is like, just stay fat. I would just for like 5 years and just do fat roles where you can't be sexy. And then we can just really enjoy that because that's awesome.
He's so great. I'm glad that he saved himself. Because if you go certainly pre in Bruges, if you go back to like 2005, 2006, and if someone came to you and said, you want to make this wager that he's going to be still relevant in 2019, I mean, maybe even still alive in 2020.
Horrible addiction issues and stuff.
Yeah,
Poor
you
guy.
probably don't take that bet. And obviously I'm glad anyone who gets clean and figures out life and all that sort of stuff. But we are supremely blessed to be able to watch him on screen because he's magnificent always. So,
I completely agree. He's great in this and could use a lot more. That character is really fun too. It's kind of so perfectly tailored for him.
I want to tell our listeners about Likewise. If you're not on Likewise, you need to get on it. Likewise is an amazing new website that tailors recommends just for you. We get a lot of questions in our Discord. We get a lot of questions in email about what people should be watching, what we're currently watching. So what if there was like a weekly recommends app? You can find tailored recommends at Likewise. What you do is you enter in the things you've watched. You get tailored recommendations just for you, like the things that you like. Likewise is the only app you need to discover what to watch or read next. In fact, Likewise learns from what you like to make better recommendations. If you ever wondered what's coming up on Hulu, what's coming up on Netflix, well, Likewise sends me an email every week that tells me what's new on Netflix that week. I don't have to sift through all their menus and all their scrolling marquees. Likewise brings it all there for you. In fact, you can recommend our podcast on Likewise to other people, and that helps grow the show. Honestly, with music streaming services, with all the books people are reading nowadays, it's just hard to sift through all those recommended playlists, recommended books. This puts it all in one place, and it could not be easier. Likewise is incredible. I've been using it for a while, so check it out. Go to likewise.com/mad. Download the app. Enjoy Likewise, and follow us on there. Get tailored recommends. Boom.
Man, Henry Golding is something too. I mean, that guy has not quite to the, when we first saw him a couple years ago, he doesn't quite have the Hemsworth thing where you go, well, that's a movie star, but he's close, right? That guy has a real appeal, and he can do a lot of different things. He's so kind of dashing right now. He's a little bit pigeonholed into that, but I think he's a really quality actor that's going to do a lot of great things going forward. It's fun to see him do something like this.
Yeah, this is a little bit of this is an opportunity to show your range and your ambition as an actor, post Crazy Rich Asians and kind of bursting onto the scene like that. Because you're right, dashing is exactly the word that I thought of when I saw him. But this is, the I don't know, I assume it's a prosthetic or whatever, the teeth and the kind of accent and the mannerisms and stuff. And it's got a bit of a thankless job too, given who you're on screen with and the scenes that he had to work with. But he fit quite well and did a really good job, I think, of bringing home that character that plays a very important role in the events of this entire thing. Yeah, he did a great job for sure.
Yeah, and Michelle Dockery, I wasn't completely familiar with her oeuvre, as one says, but she held her own. I think she's a Downton Abbey alum. She really held her own in this super like male machismo cast, and Jeremy Strong and Eddie Marsan, I think, was the other one. Yeah. Are really fun too. But now we got to talk about the piece de resistance. And my boy, what a great device for him.
Gosh. So good. Such a fun usage for him, and just let him be sleazy and shady and kind of and gross and the tinted glasses are just fantastic for that. And he hits the mark. He hits the mark perfectly, and he serves as a perfect vehicle for telling this story. Yep. I'm going to give Guy Ritchie a little bit more credit than I saw this movie like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, same.
And in the movie, I didn't think this, but coming out of him, like, that was a pretty risky script option to go that route, and to have Hugh Grant telling this story that's somewhat a lie in certain places and is all done in
classic
sort of,
unreliable narrator
yeah
style.
Absolutely. That was a risky play, and I thought it's not perfect, but it played out really well, and Hugh is perfect. he's perfect doing that.
I mean, I think he's, we've talked about this, the most underrated movie star of the 90s. Not the best, but like that guy put butts in seats pretty well for 10 years. But then played kind of and then went about type, kind of did a heel turn with About a Boy and stuff like that, and a little grumpier version of himself. But I think in this decade he's become quite a good actor.
Yes, agree.
And not just a movie star. He was always a very good movie star and good at kind of what we call persona acting, just kind of being Hugh Grant is this, and delivers. He's a wonderful. I mean, that guy takes like a comedic line that's like a 6 and makes it a 9 every time. I mean, he's just really good at that.
Yeah.
But now he's become this really kind of fun, with Florence Foster Jenkins and this and a few other things. He's got a
Paddington too.
Paddington too. Oh my God, he's awesome in that, and that probably more than anything. And he's become a really fun character, which as a fan of his is awesome for me because he's the coolest.
Yeah.
Did you see him talking all what he based his character on?
No,
because he deals with these guys because in his other life is a big privacy advocate for all these like private eyes that hack your phone and stuff.
Yeah. I remember some things.
Right.
Sure.
And so
he has good reason to be in that camp. Yeah.
And he's done I think on both sides of the aisle, pretty laudatory of the work he's done over there with their libel laws and stuff like that. And so, and anyway, he said he's now met many of these guys that spied on him for years. And he said he throws these parties every year, and these guys kind of they turn face, eventually, and say,
sure,
and kind of tell him at these parties that he'll throw, like, oh yeah, one time I went through all your trash, and and then one time, I did this, and it's really good the work you're doing now to stop idiots like me. I was just trying to get paid, but blah blah blah. And he said so he kind of based it off all of these guys because he's now met dozens of them. And he said he was at a party, and one guy, they said, oh, this is Davis. Thank you for hosting us. And he actually burgled your house years ago in 1995. And Hugh tells the story. He goes, oh, great. Help yourself. You know where everything is. If you'd like a drink. And just like the most self-deprecating.
Gosh, man. What a...
Yeah. It's crazy over there. That paparazzi
industry,
world over there. Yeah. We it's bad here. I mean, we're dealing with it right now with like the Kobe stuff, with TMZ going early on that, and that's its own horrible thing. But like we've got it pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Compared to a lot of Europe with that, which is crazy. So anyway, Yeah. So anyway, that's what that character is based on. Is those kind of like half Private Eye, half. So it's in that way great casting because who has more experience with them?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't think of Hugh Grant as being able to be that sleazy, but and he also got Guy Ritchie. Hugh Grant was on his way to get married, and Guy Ritchie's assistant ran over him with a bicycle, and he helped him up, kind of annoyed. And Guy was like, "Oh, I've got a script for you." That's how they.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, but it's good use of his like showing that like he can be sleazy, but he's also really charming. Like that's a really charming character in spite of the layers of sleaze that are that are draped all over
his
him.
best movie probably besides maybe Paddington is now, but his best movie before Paddington was about a boy where he's a wonderful narrator. That he's a good narrator. He has that skill of bringing life to what can be kind of a boring device in a movie. Anyway, enough about that. So this had I think. This plot goes everywhere. This story goes everywhere. But it's not confusing really. Like I found, might have been just the age I watched it, but I remember finding Lock, Stock and Snatch kind of like, you got to watch those twice. This didn't really have that. It's maybe he's just become a better writer at that and makes things more clear. But this seemed a little more simple than stuff before for the better.
I agree.
And but it still has all the flourishes of the hyper violence and the quick cutting and all that. So I want to talk about this real quick. So the style of Guy Ritchie you talked about, and you like that he has it. And I concur. I think it's cool when not everything. I like going and knowing who the director is by the style. That's cool, and
sure.
And but. Does any of it tire on you? And any critiques of it? Does it like?
Yeah,
it does for me. It kind of wears my eyes out after a while.
Yeah, I totally. There's at a certain point you're like, at some point I want to watch this movie, dude. Like, can you let me settle in and watch a movie? Is that cool? My favorite Guy Ritchie movie is not a Guy Ritchie, is Layer Cake. I think Layer Cake is Matthew Vaughn ripping off Guy Ritchie and then Guy Ritchie being like, oh crap, that was really good. Like, you did that better than me. Cause it's a little less, hyperkinetic and it lets you settle a little bit.
You and I aren't as big on Kingsman as many people are, but that's another great Guy Ritchie movie that he didn't make, right?
Right.
Again, Matthew Vaughn, who produced Lock, Stock, right? It's kind of
I think so. Yeah.
Kind of a Roger Avery, Quentin Tarantino situation on that, I'm sure.
Yeah. But there's times in this movie too, less so probably than Snatch or Lock, Stock, but definitely moments where I kind of realize like I don't really know it, not the complexity of the story, but more my brain has just been hit with so many words, so in such a weird accent so many times that I start to tune out. You like have to check in or remind yourself to pay full attention because it's just coming at you at a mile a minute and not always in the best. It's not like a Sorkin movie or a Sorkin script where you're just like, yes, please keep it, I can barely keep up with this, but keep it coming. With the Guy Ritchie, most of his movies, there's a point at which I'm like, I need you to slow down a little bit, dude, and let me catch up on all this.
I totally agree. And he's got another one coming out this year, I think, called Cash Truck, which I love the name of it.
In. That sounds great.
Yeah. And it's Statham. And do you know who else is in this?
I just hit this, and I'm blown away. I'm very interested. I don't know if it'll be good, but I'm interested just based on the name because we haven't seen him.
Josh Hartnett.
Yeah,
been a while.
Yeah, Penny Dreadful, and that's it for the last 15 years. It's
hanging out in Minnesota with Pete Campbell.
What's his name? Vincent
Kartheiser. Yeah,
Kartheiser. Yeah,
they hang out. They go to Wolves games.
With
this
Joe
is
Mandy.
This is a movie. We talk about this all the time. People, we just recorded. It's not out yet when you hear this. We just did our 600th episode, and people say, "Man, do you ever get tired of talking about movies?" The answer, of course, is yes.
Right.
But the real answer is bad movies are easy and good movies are easy to talk about.
Yeah.
That's not true. Bad movies are easy and great movies are easy. Movies like this that are okay to good, I would put this as good, are the hardest things to review. So what what negatives did you find in this? Because this overall works, but I didn't want to set myself on fire of enjoy, which why would you? But walking out of the theater, it
has maybe one too many strings attached to kind of pull through at the end with the main story and all that. Like, and I don't even know which one I would say that's the one you cut, but somewhere in the process, I feel like it's not a runtime issue, but it becomes a bit muddy at a certain point, and maybe even more than that, you're just like, okay, but like, let's get on with it. Like we all know kind of where this is headed now, so we've established this. Can we move on? And maybe there's a little bit too much on that. I thought Jeremy Strong was terrible. That's not really necessarily a Guy Ritchie thing. I texted you during the movie, because I was in an empty theater, but and because I'm like the one person who is on a podcast anywhere who doesn't watch Succession, and that's the main reason I won't watch it, is because I'm just very.
You'll like it.
I'm sure I will. Yeah,
I actually think you. I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't think you would.
Yeah, no, I fully trust your opinion. I did not trust all the opinions of. For the first season, it felt like the only people who watched Succession were totally Ringer podcast hosts, and I was like, I can't. And I'm with you, and that's why I put it off till pretty recently. Sure. Sarah and I finally started ticking them off one a night, and it is great. It's a really great show. I think, and it's outside of that, I think it's a really Brian Gill friendly show. I think you'll really dig it. But you're right about Jeremy Strong, and he's kind of, maybe it's the name. He kind of has the Renner thing where he's just like charismaless. And that really works on Succession because that's kind of the point of Kendall. But he's just kind of, he has everything else, but he's just kind of a dud in the room. He almost, this movie too, he's just a dud in it. You know? Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. And everything that it's just interesting. That's why I text you, because I'm like, is he really great on Succession? Because he keeps getting roles, and everything I see him in, I'm like, he's terrible. This is awful. He's not good in any of these things. So maybe I'm just watching the wrong things, but this one in particular, combined with Serenity, which came out about this time last year, but I just watched like a month ago, both of those characters, it feels like, it feels like he's doing like a Sheldon Cooper thing almost. Like it's like he's trying to be on the spectrum, but it doesn't really land that way. And it just felt odd. So he was very off, but every time he was, and thankfully for this movie, he's only in this movie for 10 minutes tops, I would guess, screen time wise. And those are the 10 worst minutes, I think. It was really difficult. But you mentioned McConaughey too. I thought McConaughey settled in as his character becomes more gangster and more unhinged and whatnot, and he starts to feel more at home in this movie. But whether that's Ritchie or McConaughey or a combination of the two, the reserved nature of his character early on felt odd and a little bit off-putting. Compared to some of the other characters. And then my only other real criticism is Charlie Hunnam, again, is not a particularly great actor, but he can be very good at doing certain things. He was very good on Sons. When he, in the first 4 or 5 seasons, when he was, I won't even say he wasn't asked to do, because there was really rangy stuff in that performance, but the show had other things going on and didn't depend on him delivering lines. I think that's his weak point, which is a strange thing to say about an actor. Like, well, you're not great at saying lines. I thought that the movie kind of got into lulls at points, and most of the time it was Hunnam trying to play off of Hugh Grant and maybe being a little bit out of his depth on that. And it just kind of, it fell flat a bit in those moments. He's so good at the action and the menacing and he broods. The same. Yeah, he's great at that's great way. He broods well, and he has that. He's very good at delivering one-liner type things. It's the more monologue-ish type stuff where you're like, well, this probably isn't your strength. So, and a bit here and there that this movie kind of fell into that every now and then. Well, cool. This, again, though, we say this sometimes, cool that this is out, because Guy Ritchie's the kind of filmmaker that I think would easily, most of his kind of ilk would be talked into making this an HBO series or something, and it's cool this got a wide theatrical release across the world, and it'll make money. It's not going to be a huge hit, but the budget was low enough
I think it was like 33 million. It's already made. It's right now it's at even. So I mean, if this thing will make 50 million, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So that's all good, and it's cool to see this kind of action movie that's not a $200 million action movie every once in a while, which is fun.
100%. That was maybe my biggest takeaway was just, hey, this was fun and it was different and it was an action movie, but not one that had to be made at $250 million and all that sort of stuff. And I love that. I love that we can, it's good for movies in general to not be so dependent on, we have 5 huge movies this year, and if they don't do well, we're all screwed. You know, it's fun for the audience to be able to see something a little bit different.
Indeed. So shall we grade this out?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to give this a solid, just straight up the middle B. Go solid B. What about you, Bright Guy?
I'm going to go just slightly higher. I'm going to go B+. Nice. I really had a good time with this. This might be we'll see. You said it really well at the top. You know, if this ends up being one of the better movies of the year, we're hosed. And if it's kind of somewhere closer to the top of the middle, you know, then we've had a very good year. This could be one that's kind of rewatchable that is fun to put on in the background. The way that Sherlock is, and the way that, like, for me personally, that Lock, Stock, and Snatch are not. This could be a little closer on that front, on the rewatchability.
But next time, just buddy cop movie guy with Hugh and Colin Farrell, and we'll be there. I'll see it 3 times.
I'll start the GoFundMe now. Like, that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, cool. Well, Brian, we've got all kinds of goodies right now. We just ended 2019. This is. We're getting into 2020. This is pretty awesome for if we're rating this by January movies. This is an A+, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Do this every year, studios.
It's on the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, if you want to put a Guy Ritchie movie out every January, the Movie Podcasting Union will tithe to you. That's good for you. Yeah. Or just
we just started that union,
or put out no movies. Either way. Yeah, we did just see.
Yeah, take a break. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we've got a bunch of good stuff coming out over the next few weeks, both on this feed and the Viper feed. In the Viper feed, we've got some. Well, in this feed, we've got a best of the year, as we normally do, right? That's in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be out probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time you're listening to this, it'll probably be out tomorrow. Yeah.
So we'll do our best of 2019, which is an annual tradish. And then in the Viper feed, which is our VIP, which you can get over at Patreon at madaboutmovies.com/VIP for $4 a month, where we do at least 4 extra episodes a month. But on that feed, you get our best 10 films of the decade.
Nice.
So we do all 2010 through 2019 films, which was really fun. We've a little inside baseball. We've already recorded those. So if you want extra MAM content as we go into the Oscars coming up, we'll have that. We've got your regular movie reviews here. We have our Oscars post-game show, which we begrudgingly do immediately after the Oscars every year, and we're in really foul moods. And then Brian asks Kent what sound editing and sound mixing are, and that takes 10 minutes, and it's awful. So we'll be here for that at 1
This year we should record should record it before the ceremony and just see how much we get right. Not even like from a prediction standpoint, but just just try to get it in the bag and see if it can play.
Try to do that was crazy when John Lithgow streaked. And then
really didn't see all these bits falling flat, huh? That's strange.
Yeah, who would have thought? So that we'll have that coming out. We've got all kinds of stuff, and then obviously in the VIP feed, in addition to extra episodes, you get to vote on things. You get the Discord channel, which I think is the best perk. It's a big chat room app with not only us in it, which Brian's great in there, Ken's great in there. I bring a joke every now and then, but also dozens or hundreds, somewhere in there, in that range of people just like you that like to talk about movies. And the number one thing we get always is, hey, I love Mad About Movies because I don't have any friends to talk about movies with, so I listen to you guys. Well, you can do that. You can also get in the Discord and chat it up all day and all night with people who are always up and talking movies and TV and comics and music and all kinds of cool stuff. So I love that feed. And I think that's worth $4 a month right there, and we're happy to provide it and kind of be the admins of it as well. So That's it. That's the gentleman. That's Mad About Movies for the week. A little shorter episode, but we got some bonus stuff coming. Don't be alarmed. We've got all kinds of goodies coming in this feed and the others over the next couple weeks. And Brian, anything you want to add?
No.
Alrighty then. You can find me at Richard Barden on Twitter and all the other social media. You can find Brian at bgill12 on Twitter. Right. And until we can get that idiot Brian Gill to give up his feed he hasn't used in 10 years, and we will.
Yeah.
Either
the campaign has already started.
Coercion or murder, we'll get him. And all
Just
that
be
stuff.
seen is all I'm saying. Make some phone calls.
Yeah, they have phone records now. And you know what? They have GPS records. So maybe lose your phone at the park for a few hours.
Yeah.
Under a rock where you can find it again. Yeah. No, I know. Say it louder. Alrighty. Until next time, we will see. Let's see, Ma.
Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Tossed salads and scrambled eggs. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe, but I got you pegged. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face. They're making me yah-yah.